All right. This here is just like a follow up or whatever, but I want to show what Liz Wheeler here, how she sang that we lost in Ohio. It's, if you've got that mindset that you're thinking that we lost in Ohio, you're not as intelligent as I thought you was, and really, I can't believe that Liz Wheeler is missing this. As is some of the other ones. They're seeing this as a loss. Because GOP Republicans, we like to vote on the day of elections and stuff like that, and they're talking about we'd rather have election day, which is true. Rather have election day and do it the right way, rather than election seasons. Like having it 3 or 4 days long or whatever, or a month long. Where they go out and they harvest ballots and all that stuff, the Democrats or whatever. But that's okay. The main thing is I want to point out. Listen to this.
Okay, so what happened in Ohio this week, there was on the ballot a constitutional amendment that would have made it more difficult to pass a constitutional amendment. It would have increased the majority necessary from 50% to 60%, which a lot of states have a 60% majority to pass a constitutional amendment, so this wasn't something outrageous or unprecedented or anything of the type. The reason it was a polarizing vote was because the pro-life coalition and the Republicans wanted to make it more difficult to pass a constitutional amendment because the pro-abortion folks in Ohio are trying to pass abortion up until the moment of birth, and the pro-lifers and the Republicans want to make it more difficult for them to do that. So, of course, it became a very polarizing issue, and Republicans and pro-lifers lost. They lost pretty handily. This is a tweet from Ilhan Omar.
Hear that? Lost. Let's take a quick pause here for just a minute. All right, so listen to how she keeps saying that we lost. Well, no, we most certainly didn't lose. What part of they don't get this that we don't want to give up the power of our vote. We can't. If you do that, you're screwed for sure. So if you're coming after and you're telling me, okay, well, instead of just the majority, now you got to have a super majority because that's what they want to do. But listen here, how bad that. I mean, this is just Liz Wheeler, but listen to how bad she has this messed up.
Of course, it became a very polarizing issue, and Republicans and pro-lifers lost. They lost pretty handily. This is a tweet from Ilhan Omar.
See, they lost. They lost pretty handedly. Listen, so if you want to look this up, look up 20M Biden bribery scheme exposed, plus what really, and that's Liz Wheeler or whatever. So just look it up on YouTube for yourself. Watch the whole thing if you want to see the whole thing. I don't know how to do the links yet and all that stuff, but you can just pull that up and watch this. But it is absolutely infuriating to me, and it should be to anybody that not because of what she's saying, but just that her mind that she's missing that this should be across the board. Anybody, Republican, Democrat, I don't care what you are, if you're giving up your power of your vote, which is exactly what this is. But listen a little bit more here.
That I want to bring up. It has a graph here. It was 62% to 38%. Ilano.
Okay, 62 to 38%. Noam brought up an interesting thing. That's not what we seen. We seen it was like 59 and a half to whatever, and I was like, kind of like, well, why would that mean anything? No, what's the big deal with that or whatever? And like she pointed out, which was, well, facts do matter. Reminds me of Roman from the Epic Times there. Shout out to Roman. But it is incredibly true. We need to have the right numbers. One person, one vote counts as a one. I mean, that's just the way it should be. But this is exactly a great example of what they're trying to do. It's not one vote, majority rules, cross the board or whatever. they're trying to change this, and she's so blind that she can't see it. Either one that, and I believe wholeheartedly that she honestly just hasn't taken a moment to really think about it. You know what I mean? Because she's saying this is a loss. It's not a loss. It's a win because you're not taking away. So in November, we're not going to pass no killing no babies and stuff here. Now Liz Wheeler is actually from Ohio originally, I believe, or whatever. But here, let's listen a little bit more here.
Of course, her commentary is, this hell no vote is a win for liberty. The GOP ignored warning signs as polls showed nearly 60% of voters were against the measure. Nearly 60% support abortion access. The GOP loses when they go after democracy and women's rights, but they keep effing around and finding out. Ilhan Omar is just a nasty person. She posted this graph with it that showed where the votes came from.
Okay, so on here, you'll see the graph if you go back and you look at it, but down here, the counties that's in red, for the most part, voted no, and then the ones in the green voted yes or whatever. Unfortunately, it kind of whacks off here right below Columbus, so I can't see Jackson County, which is where I'm at. So anyway, but it says no, 695,354 is 62.01%, and yes was 426,087, 37.99. So I mean, a huge difference there. And so you're not going to get that with Democrats. I mean, there's no way. I mean, if you think about this, you know, Ohio is a Republican majority state. So the reason why that they got this is because it has nothing to do with Republicans, Democrat, or whatever. This shows you clear as day that the majority of the people have common sense. It's like, nope, you're not taking away my vote. And that's exactly what this would have did. So listen here just a little bit more.
That showed that, 60% voted against this constitutional amendment. 38% about voted for it. It is disappointing, but here's the bigger picture here. The bigger picture here is this is the problem that the Republican Party is facing. The reason that Republicans lost in Ohio this week is the same reason that Republicans lost the midterms in 2022, and it's the same reason that Republicans lost the presidential election in 2020. The reason is because Democrats have get-out-the-vote operations like you've never seen before. In some states, I'm talking about ballot harvesting. In most states, I'm talking about early voting and universal mail-in ballots. They have specifically targeted campaigns where they actively recruit voters. And so these elections are won before election day even comes around.
Agreed.
And meanwhile, Republicans are over here like, we don't believe in election season. We only want election day.
That's right.
Fine, I do too. I wish that people could only vote with paper ballots at the poll on voting day, unless there was an exception for like
agreed,
or,
Liz.
Deployment in the military or something really severe that allowed you to vote absentee.
Agreed.
I wish that too, but that's not the reality of the situation that we're facing. The situation that we're facing is Democrats are allowed to do all of this electioneering, ballot harvesting, early voting, universal mail-in ballots, targeted
I'm really worried
voting demographics,
I really am concerned because she just really, I honestly think that she just hasn't taken a moment to really think about, what they was trying to do with this. And I don't believe she is in Ohio anymore. I'm not sure where she's at, but I think she's, for the most part, a pretty good person. She's usually got her hat on straight there, but she's way missing the mark on this.
Narratives to trick people into voting Democrat, and it's working. And so let me tell you this. It happened in 2020. It happened in 2022. It happened in Ohio over this issue and in other states over similar issues, especially abortion, because Republican politicians are so afraid to talk about abortion. They're so afraid to be pro-life because their consultants have told them that's an unpopular topic with constituents, that we've surrendered the narrative to the left. We've allowed the left to define abortion not as abortion, not as a brutal medical procedure, a brutal, bloody medical procedure that deliberately ends the life of a living human baby inside
100% agreed.
Instead of actually competing for this narrative and offering reality to women, we've allowed the left to brand abortion as miscarriage care, ectopic pregnancy care, rape and incest and life of the mother, when that's not true. That none of that is true. But because consultants have told Republican politicians that abortion's unpopular to talk about, we don't even compete. So all of these voters that voted against this constitutional amendment were recruited by Democrats, probably.
You're wrong, Liz. Nobody recruited me. Let me tell you something. My subscribers out there, my friends, my neighbors, my relatives, everybody have their hat on straight, and she is missing it. No daggone Democrat was steering this. It's just, unless this was a Democrat to come up with this stuff to vote on this issue 1 or something, and it doesn't even matter who did it. If you're telling us that you're going to weaken our vote, no, this is a clear sign. So you're missing it, Liz Wheeler.
Engaged in early voting have fallen prey to the narrative that the left propagated that we didn't even compete against. And so what happened in 2020, what happened in 2022, and what happened in Ohio, my friends, it's going to keep happening. We're not going to win in 2024.
Well,
We're
you're
not
wrong.
going to win in 2026. We're not going to win in 2028.
You're wrong.
We're not going to win abortion until.
Well, here's the thing. We're never, ever going to win the abortion thing because we've already allowed so much to happen now that I got to tell you, when I stand in front of Jesus and I have to have accountability and stuff for that, that's one that we're all going to fail on because even if it ended today, across the board, which don't get me wrong, I wish that it would, but it should have never ever happened to begin with. So how can you celebrate, Roe v. Wade or anything like that when you can go just to another state and same thing still taking place? It's like, oh, I can't do it here. Well, I'll just run up to Michigan or wherever it is, So, pretty sad. But you can tell
with the get out the vote apparatus that the Democrats have. If we don't embrace early voting, we don't embrace ballot.
Okay, I'm all about, okay, fine, yep. Sometimes you got to change and roll with whatever it is in order to win, But I really hate that the whole thing seems like a game, These are real people. I mean, individual people. I mean, I'm thinking of 10 subscribers' names right now off the top of my head or whatever, I mean, you're talking about us. We're real people. But see, all that the government sees is just we're this annoying glob of numbers that they have to deal with. And if you don't understand that, all you have to do is call your representative, which is another thing. That's what I need to do. I'm going to get our representative for this area, Brad Winstrip, and I'm actually going to post that on the channel and stuff like that because we all need to jump in here.
Harvesting.
But
if we don't recruit voters and compete with uncomfortable narratives, then we're going to continue to lose. Even if we actually own public opinion on abortion, which we do, by the way, the vast majority of Americans do not think abortion should be legal in the 3rd trimester. The vast majority of Americans do not think abortion should be legal in the 2nd trimester. And yet, we continue to lose whenever this is on the ballot because we're not competing.
Abortion shouldn't be allowed straight up. I mean, unless there is some very, 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 very unusual circumstances or something. But instead of saying something about abortion, and concentrating on that so much, why don't we prevent it to begin with? See, if you was to say, well, don't dress so scantily and then go around a bunch of men, well, then people would say, oh, what does it matter how you dress? Well, unfortunately, you live on planet Earth, Of course, there's a lot of people that's in bizarro land, but, that kind of resides here on Earth, and we have to deal with those people. Think about this. Do we have mental hospitals anymore? I mean, genuinely, where there's disturbed people or what? Nope. Because you can get on YouTube and you can look and you can see these mental disturbed people that obviously need help. But you know what? You know what's really sad is they become entertainment for us. Because if you watch on YouTube and you can watch some poor little old lady or a little old man or something like that, or it doesn't have to be old at all, but you watch some person who's obviously not all there, and it's got 2 point whatever some million views, for some poor soul. It's sad. The whole thing is sad. But this is really bothering me with Liz Wheeler, and I'm using her as an example because when I seen this and I heard this, it's like, wait a minute. So I'm not gonna lay still. You know what? I'm not gonna do that, and I'm sure all of you are feeling the same way as I am. It's like you're saying that we lost, we didn't lose. This is a win.
Republicans are being losers.
There she
is.
Perfect time.
Game without training and expect to have some miraculous victory here. Of course you're gonna lose, obviously. And you can blame the RNC for this. This is a top-down strategy. And yes, they are to blame. You can blame state Republican apparatuses because they're supposed to be in charge of this in their own state. And yes, that's true. But it's also something that we, the people, the electorate at large, has to demand before any Republican apparatus is going to do it. We have to educate ourselves on what the Democrats are doing so that we can not only do the same thing, but do it better. Until we do that, we're going to keep losing.
We didn't lose. You're missing you're missing it, Liz.
It's infuriating. You can tell that I feel passionately about this because Ohio is my home state. It is not a pro-abortion state. It's a largely pro-life state. And yet we've been outmaneuvered by the Democrats and we lost and we didn't have to lose. All right, so lighten up the end of...
All right, yeah. Anyway, there you have it. I just wanted to bring that on, and because I was thinking, I should have played something and let her actually show you or whatever, because a lot of you, may not have the time or whatever to go back and forth, or, maybe you couldn't find it for some... I don't know, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of give my commentary and stuff on there, because everybody that I talk to, I know... feels exactly like I do. She's missing the whole daggone point, as is a lot of them, if they're saying Republicans lost. No, Republicans, all of us Americans won across the board. Now, here's what they're saying. They're going to say, well, in November, now they're bringing up the abortion thing, which is what some of the people in Ohio, I can't remember his, LaRose, isn't it LaRose? I think it was pushing it. Oh, abortion. Well, we don't care what it is that they're bringing up. It should be majority rules. And if the majority of the people rules to murder children, God's children, it just dawned on me right there to say that God's children, if you're going to murder God's children, we got to do some serious work and educate. And when you use that word educate too, that can be like a really sharp word to use with some people, because it's not that you want to force something on somebody. It's just it's like your children. You want them to be kind and respectful and stuff like that. But if you spare the rod and then you're going to spoil the child, and then your kid's going out and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever that they shouldn't be doing, well, whose fault is it, So, we've allowed our government to run over us. We can't do that anymore. So anyway, again, God bless America. God bless you and yours. We're praying for you. Thanks for praying for us. Love you, Lord. Love you, boss. Peace out.